What's up, everybody? My name is James Rogers here, part of Team Underdogs. We're a new team that we've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, but now we want to try and get out there and get known into the Yu-Gi-Oh community. And we've chosen the name Team Underdogs because we pretty much have been underdogs from the very beginning. People have underestimated us. We pulled off upsets, really catching people off guard. Um, this is our very first deck profile video that we're going to be having. It is a top 4 deck profile at our locals with PK Fire. Some insight about me: I've been playing for a while, probably about 4 or 5 years. Really just kind of only doing things for fun. It wasn't really until maybe a couple years ago that I realized I was really getting the hang of the competitive side of it. I was beating off players that many people assumed that I wouldn't be able to beat with decks that people assumed I couldn't win with. And because of that, I decided to try and get my name out there individually and as a team. And when we get this channel going more and more, we'll definitely have more deck profile videos featuring some of the other team members, so you can get an idea of their mindset as well as my own when it comes to deck building. Going on to today, 4 rounds of Swiss. I was X1, 2-0 Cosmos round 1, 2-0 Blue Eyes round 2, getting 2-0'd by a Yang Zings because I wasn't anticipating Yang Zings really to show up, at this tournament, but so that was kind of my fault. And then I ended up 2-0 Ignites in the 4th round. Ended up being X1. In the round of 8, I went 2-1 against Cosmos. Pretty much just got slaughtered game 1. Game 2 was able to stall out and create plays that he just wasn't able to get around. And then game 3, I was actually able to OTK. And then in the round of 4 match, I do feel upset because I could have forced a game 3, but I forgot to play a card that I had set that would have given me game. And I didn't realize I had it set until I got Twin Twister the very next turn, and then he ended up gaming me right after that. So I could have forced a game 3. It was against Gadgets. As bad as this is to say, yes, I did lose the Gadgets. But his particular build was actually Gadget Chairs, the Gadget Star Seraphs. So it wasn't a normal build whatsoever, and it had so many tricks to it. It was overwhelming. It really was. And like I said, I could have forced a game 3, but I just forgot to play a card that I actually had set. If I had it, it would have been game easily, and we would have just gone game 3 and never know if I would have made it onto the finals or not. But with that being said, I actually am really, really satisfied with how this deck performed. All my bad hands still didn't turn out to be all that bad. My good hands ended up being tremendous, making plays that were just unbelievably good and putting my opponent in positions where they just really couldn't do much to get around my board or to get through my board, really, for that matter. So with that being said, let's go on this deck profile video. I know I've rambled on long enough with the little backgrounds or whatever. Let's get this deck profile underway. So for the monsters, start with the main engine, the 1 tour guide, the 3 Terratops, and the 1 Toccata board. The card's super good. The 3-1 ratio still works even now. You really don't want to play more than one of this unless you really have speed recovery, and even then, there really just was no room to fit speed recovery in. So I just stuck to the standard standard amount. Then we had 3 boots, 2 cloaks, and 1 gloves. This is probably the only part of the deck that I really wish I didn't keep standard. There were a lot of times I really needed gloves to activate, and I either couldn't get it to activate when I needed it to, or I had to waste so many resources to get it to the field, XYZ with it, and then get it to graveyard so I could actually use this effect. So I was thinking of putting this at 2. I'm not sure yet. Right now, this ratio wasn't all that bad. It's just that when I really needed this card, there were a lot of times I really just couldn't use it, and I just had to find some other way of getting around that situation. So For the BAs now, we have the 1 Graph, the 1 Sear, unfortunately, and the 3 Scarm. Pretty good engine still. Even though Sear went to 1, it didn't hurt PK Fire as much as it really did Pure Burn and Abyss. So I didn't really have to rely on Sear a lot during this tournament. I did decide to play 3 Farfa, which I don't necessarily know if that was a really good idea. I never really used Farfa throughout this tournament, and when I really did, I only really used it maybe one time at the most per duel, or really per match. It just wasn't a card that really had a lot of use at this tournament, so I was debating on cutting it to 2, but I'm probably going to give it one more at 3 just to kind of really see if it was just a tournament or if it really doesn't have much usage whatsoever. And then for utility, we got 1 Barbar, 1 Alec, 1 Calcab, and 1 Libic. That's it for the monsters. It's 23. For the spells, I opted to play 3 Allure of Darkness for this tournament. I'm not a big fan of Pot of Desires. I know everybody was on a huge hype about playing that card, but I really like Allure of Darkness more. So I decided to play this at 3. And I really didn't play it all that much. When I did play it, though, I drew into anything and everything that I really, really needed for my turn. And it was just such a tremendous card. It's probably going to end up staying at 3. 3 Twin Twister, just kind of standard, really. You never know if you're going to face Mirror Match or Blue Eyes. So you just kind of make do with it, essentially. And then I have 1 Rhoda and 1 Foolish. Did not resolve Rhoda one time that tournament today. Foolish I resolved a good number of times, and TT actually gave me a game with Barbar. I actually searched out a Barbar back from Graveyard when Dante hit the board, and my plan was to summon it and let it get blown up, but I knew my opponent had a Cosmojo most likely, and on my turn, I drew the Twin Twister, and he was not happy, so I ended up Twin Twistering him for game using the Barbar. So, yeah. For the traps, 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. I was anticipating Blue Eyes a lot, and our first game match is really terrible against Blue Eyes, so I needed some type of leverage, and Anti-Spell Fragrance helped out quite a bit, actually. Then, especially when it came to siding stuff, Anti-Spell Fragrance just became that much more deadly. Definitely a card that I was happy about main decking. 1 Warning and 1 Strike. I actually picked this up right before the tournament because he was selling it for half the price of what it actually was at a discount, and no one else was getting it, so I picked it up and decided to go play it, and I end up milling it 90% of the time. Never resolved it once. I am so upset, but I'm still going to keep playing it regardless. 3 Fogblade and 1 Phoenix Knight's Wing. I think the ratio was good. There were a couple times I thought maybe an extra wings, but really, I thought the ratio was really good. So that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards. For the extra deck, 3 Dante. Just have to play it at 3 now. You need to be able to mill OTK, all that jazz. 1 Beatrice and 1 Dante Pilgrim. Did not make Beatrice a lot, but when I did, it definitely became a problem for my opponents. 1 Break Sword and 1 Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. I was playing this at 2, but I really realized like the second one wasn't going to be very effective, especially against Blue Eyes, and you really don't want to pop anything in the mirror match. So I ended up just cutting it to 1, and I'm really just picking like the right time to really just play this card because I can either put it on board for 3K, or it uses the ability to pop and then just go into the XYZ Dark Rebellion Dragon. 1 F-Zero and 1 Downer Magician. Downer Magician was pretty much useless this entire tournament. I was thinking of just putting another F-Zero back in place of it. So who knows. MVP XYZ though, 2 Levier. Levier extended all my plays to the point where I was actually able to counter a lot of stuff my opponents did. And then some. It really was like the MVP XYZ. This card put in so much work. I'm so glad I actually played the second one. The second one came in clutch so many times. 1 Grand Pulse, 1 Nightmare Shark, 1 Giga Brilliant, and 1 Digital Bug Corbage, whatever you want to call it. That was for the mirror match. Never faced it, so obviously kind of disappointed about that. And then for the side, 2 Gamecill, 2 Maxi, 2 Ghost Reaper, and 2 Ghost Ogres. These were my hand traps that I sided. Didn't have to side these at all today. Sided the Maxis a couple times, Gamecill a couple times, but that's really about it. The Ghost Reaper had no mirror match, so it just wasn't worth siding. Then we had 1 Raigeki and 1 System Down. Not much I can say about that. 1 Chaos Trap Hole, 2 Magic Drain. So this was really for Monarchs because I was really expecting Monarchs to be back for a brief amount because I figured somebody would try to play it. And then I realized this actually kind of works against Blue Eyes because even if they open up more than 1 spell, they have to lose a really good spell to negate this. So they were going to mine this just to get their spell card to activate. And then 1 Vanities and 1 Trap Stun. And that was actually for the mirror match, but I just never faced it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Like I said, it was the top 4 of the locals. I'm still working with the deck. Please comment in the comment section below. I'm still looking for more ideas on what other cards to potentially run for this deck. So I'm always taking options. If you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like button. We'll do more of these deck profiles for you guys as our team begins to progress. So thank you. Peace.